Hello and welcome, Hollywoods. We were discussing measurement, a very important concept not just for the examination but also for our day-to-day life. So let us continue from this measurement discussion. As we have discussed earlier that why measurement important, what is SI units of measurement, what are standards of measurement, what are the units. Now we will discuss these particular units of a which is called length, area, volume, mass, time, temperature. Okay. Let us discuss one by one. First of all, we'll discuss about the length. How we will measure any kind of length, any kind of, which means that whenever you are measuring a width, a thickness, a depth, a distance, a height, what are you actually measuring? You are actually measuring the distance. For example, let us see this board. This is smart board. Whenever I am measuring this length, okay, this length this particular length I'm measuring the distance between this point and this point. Let us call this point A, okay, this is point A and this is point B. So I am actually measuring the distance, okay. If I am measuring the width, okay, so from this point B1 to B2, I am also measuring the length. For example, let me give you one practical example. If I ask you that what is the distance between your home and your school, how would you measure? What are you actually measuring? You are measuring the distance, you are measuring the length from your house, from your home to the school. So actually, in the width, in the thickness, in the depth, in the distance, in the height, we are actually measuring the length. And for this measurement, we use various kind of units. What? Various kind of units. Units which are larger. This unit can be divided into two parts. Larger units and smaller units. These larger units are into the kilometer and goes on, and smaller units are into the centimeter, mm, that means ke millimeter, okay. So for this, and to measurement of this length, we use various kind of instrument. An instrument called ruler. We all know this ruler. This is the ruler. You all have this ruler. Meter scale, meter tape, what is called measuring tape. You must have seen whenever you go for, अब जब अपने पापा के साथ, अपनी मम्मी के साथ अगर दर्जी की दुकान में गए होंगे, आपने देखा होगा कि उसके गले में एक सांप जैसे कुछ लिपटा हुआ रहता है. तो वो क्या होता है? वो होता है मेजरिंग टेप. उससे क्या करता है? तो उससे वो सेंटीमीटर और mm का डिस्टेंस तय करता है. ओके, मीटर का, सेंटीमीटर का. देन इफ यू, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इन आफ्टर 10th standard, if you choose science stream, then in the physics you have to do some kind of experiment, and in that experiment you have to use this vernier calipers, spherometers, screw gauge, So various kind of measurement instrument will be used. This is called vernier caliper. Vernier caliper used for measuring the very small distance. Small distance, which means in the millimeter distance. That is a screw gauge. This is screw gauge. So as I have told you now that there are various units, sub-units for the measurement of distance. So standard unit is what? Standard unit is meter. The symbol is small m. So 1 meter means 100 centimeter. Then suppose ke you have to divide this 1 centimeter. So 1 centimeters means 10 millimeters, 10 mm. These are the smaller units. 1 kilometer means 1000 meter. So these are the various kind of measuring units. We can call it sub units, sub multiple units, or these are some special names. As I have told you that 1 kilometer means 1000 meter. If you ask 2 kilometer means 2000 meter. This is simple maths. You can calculate this thing. Okay. 1 hectometer means 100 meters. 1 decameter means 10 meters. So this is how you can describe various units of a measurement. Another submultiple units are on the smaller size. There are various units: decimeter, centimeter, millimeter. Decimeter means 1/10th meter. Meter, it is the 10th part of meter. If you divide 1 meter into small 10 units, then that 1 unit is called decimeter. Then there is a centimeter. Centimeter means, which means 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. 1 millimeter is equal to 1/1000th meter. यानी कि मीटर का 1000वां भाग. अब आपको पता चल रहा है ना कि डेसीमीटर यानी कि मीटर का 10वां भाग, सेंटीमीटर यानी कि मीटर का 100वां भाग, एंड मिलीमीटर यानी कि मीटर का 1000वां भाग. So these are the smaller units. Whenever you have to measure small length, as I told you, for example, all of you have played with the marble. That small marbles, if I ask you that what is the length of this marble, how would you measure? You would measure that marble in a millimeter point of view, in a millimeter unit. So small distance are, for example, if I ask you that what is the width of your book, of your science book. So what is that? Whenever you are measuring that width, whenever you are measuring that small quantity, you need to require the smaller numbers, the smaller units of a decimeter, centimeter, or a millimeter. Now give me the answer of this question. These are very interesting questions and very simple one. The distance from Mumbai to Pune, how would you measure? Which unit you will use to calculate this distance? Which units? I will give you 10 seconds. You need to answer me in these 10 seconds. Okay? The distance from Mumbai to Pune into kilometer. It's very simple. distance between your school and home, that is also in kilometer. The length of a classroom, how would you measure the length of your classroom? You would measure in kilometer, that the length of my classroom is 1 km, because 1 km is very big length. It's very lengthy. No, you will use the scale of meter, that there is a 10 meter, 20 meter. For example, the height of your classroom, how would you measure? The height of your classroom would be measured in a distance of meter. Okay? The length of your classroom in a meter. The length of your textbook. Now, your science textbook, how would you measure this length of textbook? Would you use that meter scale? My textbook is 10 meter long. No, not at all. You will use the scale of a centimeter. Okay. The length of my textbook is 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter, 6 centimeter, 8 centimeter, 12 centimeter. So here you use smaller scale, centimeter. Okay. CM is not chief minister, here CM is centimeter. The thickness of your exercise book, thickness of your class book. This thickness, as I have already told you, that smaller quantities, very small distance are calculated in a millimeter, mm, millimeter. Okay. And what is the SI unit of measurement of length? It is meter. It is meter. SI unit for measurement of a length. Devices. Let us see various devices. Measuring the length by ruler correctly without parallax error. Let me give you one interesting experiment. You all have this ruler. Do one thing. Try to measure anything. For example, take your ball pen, take your pencil. Now put that pencil on your scale, on your ruler. And now do one thing. For example, this is my ruler, okay? Imagine this is my ruler. And I put this pen on this ruler from 0 to whatever length. Or wherever my length is cutting down, my length, I will measure from 3 point of view. I will measure from the left, I will measure from the right, and I will measure from the center, okay? And from all the angles, I will write whatever number I see. For example, I see from the left that there is a 6.2 centimeter. I will see from the left that there is a 5.8 centimeter. And then I will see from the center that what is exact number. So if you see from the left, you will see some whatever number, that is an incorrect number, because what happened, your eyes create a perception, but this perception is a wrong perception. From right angle, from the right side, there is also a small unit, but this is also perception, okay? If you need an exact number, then you have to see from the actual center point of view, and this center is the right number, okay? So this error called parallax error. Don't do this kind of error. Parallax error. Parallax error occur in a measurement, in a ruler, because you don't see from a particular point of view. So point of view is important, my friends. Okay. Then there is a measuring tape. We have discussed about it. Then there is a vernier caliper. I told you na. See this mm. This mm is called a millimeter. And this vernier caliper actually used to measure a distance, very small distance. These are the screw gauge. Screw gauge is also used to measure a very small distance, very, very tiny. Now let us discuss the measurement of mass, that how we will calculate this mass. We have discussed about the length, but there is also a mass. For example, in the earlier discussion, I have give you one example of that. Suppose your mother sent you to buy a 2 kg of sugar. So what is this 2 kg? What this 2 kg measures? This kilogram measures what? So whenever you visit a shopkeeper and ask for a kg of a sugar, that person measures actually a mass of a sugar. Barabar? You have seen this kind of a weighing scale. Barabar? This is called beam weighing scale. And here you will use some kind of weights, and you here put your quantity and measure and do the balancing work, and from that you get actual weight. So the amount, what is mass? How would you define this mass? So definition of mass is very simple. The amount of a matter contained in the object. The amount of a matter contained in an object is the measure of a mass. Amount of matter contained in an object is the measure of its mass. That means what? That means whenever you are buying sugar, the actual amount of a sugar put in that weighing scale, that is the mass of that quantity, whatever things you measure. How would you measure that? And that amount of mass is measured in a various quantities. For example, there is a kilogram. The SI unit of mass is what? SI unit of mass is as I told you na in earlier lecture, that SI unit of mass is our gram. Okay? We use small g and m. And there is also bigger scale and a smaller scale. For example, there is a kg. So kg is equal to 1000 gram. If you integrate 1000 gram, then it become a 1 kg. Then there is also milligram, a smaller unit of a mass. So what is unit of mass? Unit of weight, it is gram. Okay? Then there is another unit. It's called measurement of a time. How would you measure time? What is time? We all know. For example, there is a watch. this is the watch. From this watch I can measure this my time, that this is half an hour, this is 1 hour, 2 hour. But what is actually time? What is scientific definition of time, and how would you measure time? And actually in the ancient time period, what are the various instrument or what are the various method which were used to measure a time? So measurement of time is nothing but a measuring the amount, is nothing but a measuring the interval. The interval between the two instances or event is called time. So this is the standard scientific definition of time. Okay, we will not go some kind of philosophical or spiritual discussion. That is another time, another point of view. But from the scientific angle, the time is basically the interval between two phenomena, two events. For example, you are into the lecture hall, you are into your classroom. Whenever the period start, you measure that one event start, that period has started, teacher enters in your classroom, and after half an hour or after 45 minutes or after 1 hour, teacher leave that classroom. So from entering into the classroom is a one instance, one event, and leaving the classroom is a second event. So these are the two instances, and that interval between these two events is called time, which is half an hour, which can be 45 minutes or which can be 1 hour, whatever time period it has been taken. So now you got the definition of time, that the interval between the two instances or two events is called time. And generally we measure our time from the use of sun. Sun is very important for our existence, not just from the point of view of our living being, but also for our day-to-day activity. So we measure time with the help of solar time period. In the ancient time, we used various kind of instrument. For example, have you seen this kind of a clock? This is called hourglass. In this clock there is a sand, and when this sand reaches from this upper glass to the lower glass, and the time it takes to get completely empty from this one upper vessel to lower vessel, and that interval we used to measure as a time period. 1 hourglass, 2 hourglass, 3 hourglass. Mean solar day is what? Here we use the time, we use mean solar day to measure the time. Mean solar day is the time taken by the earth to complete one rotation about its own axis. For example, generally we call it our 24 hour. So we use our time from the solar perspective. When earth do the whole rotation, okay, when the earth do whole rotation on its axis, that is our day. Our day and night happen because of our rotation of axis, as you have studied in your book. Ancient method, in the ancient time period, we use hourglass, okay, as I have told you, जिसको हम हिंदी में रेत घड़ी भी बोलते हैं, आपने देखा होगा, कई सारी मूवीज में भी इसका इस्तेमाल हुआ होता है कई बार. So this hourglass is also used for the measurement of time. Then there is also a water clock, as you may have heard. this is our today's standard time. In today's time we use this kind of a wall clock or watches. Now there is a digital watch. So basically in the clock, the short, how would you measure time period in this clock? You must have known this thing, I think. I don't need to teach you. This is our second arm, this is our minute arm, and this is our hour arm. So from the calculation of these arms, we use to calculate our time period. When the hour arm completes the one round, it is 12 hour. It is what? 12 hours. And when the minute arms does it, it is 1 hour. And when second arm completes one rotation, it is our 1 minute or a 60 second. As all you know that how we would calculate our time period. Now let us discuss the measurement of temperature, that how would we measure these temperatures. Temperature measurement can be done by the instrument called thermometer. You have seen this instrument. For example, whenever you got ill, for example, in reality, not just ऐसे भी, अगर हमको स्कूल में जाना नहीं था तो हम मम्मी को बोल देते, पापा को बोलते कि हमें बुखार हुआ. ऐसे नहीं बोलना है. सच में अगर हमको बुखार होता है और उनके पास भी टेक्निक होती है कि अगर सच में आपको बुखार है तो आपके घर में होगा. इस छोटा सा ऐसा ही होता है, एक छोटा सा इंस्ट्रूमेंट होता है जिसको बोलते हैं हम थर्मोमीटर. इट लुक्स लाइक दिस. ओके, एंड हियर on the tip of this thermometer there is a, जिसको हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं पारा. It's a very unique substance and we call it mercury. This mercury has a unique property. जब mercury को हम heat, whenever this mercury got heat by any means, mercury is, the property of mercury is that in the application of heat, it start to expand. So mercury start to rise from here to what, according to the application of heat. So this is how we'll measure the temperature of a person, of any kind of organic or inorganic body. This thermometer are used to measure these temperatures. आपने देखा होगा, आपके घर में भी होगा आपका, और if you go to any hospitals, you know, all the doctors have this instrument. In general we use SI unit called Kelvin, but in general manner, but in general way, we use Celsius. You must have seen this. C और उसके ऊपर छोटा सा डॉट होता है. This is called Celsius. Celsius, and second unit is called Fahrenheit. These are the general unit to measure for the measurement of a temperature. कि अगर हमें जिंदा रहना है तो हमारा बॉडी का टेम्परेचर अराउंड 36 to 37 के बीच में होना चाहिए. इफ वी डेविएट मोर फ्रॉम दिस mean temperature, our health can be under a major risk. This is a standard temperature for our general survival. Now today's time we have a various other instrument like a digital thermometer. In digital thermometer also the basic criteria is same. Any thermometer sorry, any kind of thermometer, they will use mercury as a base. But here the reading would be in a digital formats. See this thermometer, they used to measure temperature. Kelvin is a standard unit. General unit are Celsius and Fahrenheit, as you have seen. So these are the things you need to understand. See, measurement is very important thing in our daily activity, because anything you would do or you going to do will have some kind of a measuring element. Like अगर आप बाज़ार में कुछ खरीदने जा रहे हो तो आपको लेंथ और वेट के बारे में पता होना चाहिए. आप बीमार पड़े हो तो आपका टेम्परेचर आपको पता होना चाहिए. टाइम इज़ मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग. अगर आप क्लास में होगे तो आपको पता चलना चाहिए कि मैम का लेक्चर कब ख़त्म होगा, कब शुरू होगा. सो दिस आर द वेरियस in our any kind of activity, our daily activity. We cannot run, we cannot walk, we cannot even scroll without a measurement. So measurement is the base of all our activity. If I want to say, I can say measurement is the base of our activity. Okay, so read this. I hope you enjoyed our today's session and you got to know various new kind of things. And try to read these things, try to revise this portion, because this portion is important. And always be curious, ask questions, and be the science investigator. So let us meet in our next discussion with another topic, very interesting topic. And until and unless, be curious, be innovative, and be science investigator. Okay? Thank you very much. Let us meet in next lecture.